heck does the Canadian Shield have to do with crafting great beer? I traveled to Bancroft, Ontario to find out. Small-scale craft breweries are popping up all over Canada to help satisfy our thirst for locally brewed beer. I'm Angela Bell, and I'm drinking my way across Canada one craft brewery at a time. I'm looking for real folks that are making real beer. This is Crafted in Canada. Bancroft is located on the York River right between Ottawa and Toronto and has deep roots in the mining and logging industries. When I say deep, I mean they built this town on the hardworking backs of these folks. For more than a century, men and women have been gathering right here at the intersection of Highways 28 and 62 at the northern tip of Hastings County to lift a pint to celebrate the end of a long workday. This is brewmaster Logan Krupa, and he's keeping that tradition alive today with the Bancroft Brewing Company.
I was born here, and I grew up here in Bancroft, and I love my town. I moved away for about 10 years, and I was doing some other stuff in the city, and I always wanted to move back to Bancroft. And about 4 years ago, my family, we came up with a business plan, and we bought the building and took over the bar and restaurant upstairs. And where my role came in was to open a brewery and operate and have my own brewery, make beer.
How well received was it for you to start a brewing company?
A lot of people came up to me and they were saying, I was wondering when somebody was going to move to Bancroft and open a brewery. So it's going well. So it's so far so good.
And that was a good compliment to already having the restaurant and pub upstairs.
Absolutely.
And then you could just put your beer right in
that's
it, right?
Right. And one of the main reasons why the craft brewery will fail is if they put all this work into opening it up and then they don't have anywhere to start launching it and selling their beer. It's a lot harder to get your name out there and get people trying your beer, right? So this was just a great opportunity to do that.
Bancroft was at the heart of the Ontario mining boom in the 1950s and 60s. The Bancroft Brewing Company logo includes the trees, rocks, and water that connects with Bancroft's roots as a logging and mining town. People have been pulling the valuable natural resources out of the ground around here for more than a century. And that brings me back to my question. What does the Canadian Shield have to do with making great beer?
I have a very good water source. I do get my water from a spring-fed lake. It's Clark Lake here in Bancroft. There's no motors allowed on the lake, no boats. It's a very clean lake. And my water source is very good. It comes up through the Canadian Shield, so it's going through all the minerals and stuff coming up through. And it's just an excellent water source. And I don't have to do too much to treat it before I brew. I just run it through a charcoal filter, and then I'm good.
So how do you know when you have a great beer?
You got a great beer when first of all, I like it, right? Because I love beer. I know good beer and bad beer, but just the feedback. When people are telling you, you're making good beer. At the start, I was just learning, and I didn't know if they were just saying that, but and then everybody was saying it. And if other bars are buying it and putting it on tap and it's selling, then it must be doing something right. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to try some beer after seeing this process and sampling and seeing what I
can sample.
Okay,
that sounds good.
Let's sample.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These are my beers. This is the Blonde Lady. It's just a light beer. I use a Tettnanger hop in there, so it's you get a kind of citrusy flavor in it. It's a nice summer beer. Some people like to put a little lime in there when they're drinking out of it. It drinks like a lager. It's nice and light-bodied and crisp, and it just has a little more flavor than a lager. So then we got the Lager's Ale here, and this is my English brown ale. And it's used some oak smoked wheat in there, so you get a caramelly, smoky type flavor. It's pretty good too. So that's a tribute to the hard loggers back in the day that cut down the trees so we could build Bancroft. Back in the day, they worked hard, so the men were made of iron, blasting rocks and moving rocks, and so I thought, why not call my IPA the Iron Man? Because an IPA, it's a very hoppy beer, right? So I thought the name would fit.
This is Logan's Black Quartz. It's not a stout, but it is his darkest brew. I usually don't like dark beer, but this one drinks lighter like an ale, and the dark roasted barley gives it more of a coffee-flavored finish that I really enjoyed.
The thing about craft beer is you pour it, and then you want to let it sit for a minute, let the flavors come out. As it warms up a bit, you get a little more flavor in the beer as it warms up, And then, the CO2 is released and the bubbles are coming out, and then you got a little more flavor in your beer.
Logan and the Bancroft Brewing Company are part of a growing trend of craft breweries that are popping up in Ontario and throughout Canada. People can't get enough of craft beer these days.
It's just starting to grow in Canada. We're years behind the States in terms of craft beer. I love beer. I have a passion for beer, and I've always wanted my own business. So why not move back home to Bancroft and be able to do that and hopefully be successful with it. Right. So,
It's great.
Yeah, I like making stuff, so might as well make beer, right?
Yeah. Drinking a cold beer at the end of a workday has become as much a tradition in Bancroft as the hard work itself. Just like the miners and loggers before them, Logan and his friends and coworkers love gathering at the Bancroft Eatery and Brew Pub, where highways 28 and 62 meet, to share a beer and a few laughs. It's a great Canadian tradition that Logan is proud to be part of.